Hello and welcome to the Shinybees podcast, a podcast for those who like their knitting, comedy and yarn in equally large measures. I'm your host Jo Milwine and this is episode 52, How to Store Your Finished Objects.
I feel a need to laugh again with you, if that's alright. I need a drink, I need a friend.
Hello everybody and welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday the 23rd of June. How are you all? I hope you're all well since last time I spoke to you. Thank you to everyone who's been in touch, particularly those of you who have been in touch about the retro perfume reviews. If they continue to be as popular as they are at the moment, I might have to go to a weekly segment on that bad boy. There's been some more classic scents being thrown into the mix, such as Tommy Hilfiger, and I'm really looking forward to kind of diving in there and seeing what people have to offer on that. I did get retweeted by Tribe Perfume a couple of times this weekend, which pleased me no end, as I'm sure you can imagine. And indeed, if you were out wearing your Tribe Perfume, give me a shout. You know, let me know. It's all good in the hood. So, what have we got coming up for you today? Well, Enabler's Corner will be back, along with some news on Make It Fit 2015. And we'll have the Wippin Piccadilly section. And depending on how long it takes me to record all of this, and judging by my usual performance in the knitting front, it won't be that long on Wippin Piccadilly. I might even throw in another perfume review for you. So, kick back, get yourself a gin and tonic, because it's that kind of day, and we'll crack on with the show. So we'll start off the way we always start off, and that's with a little bit of news. I know quite a few of you this weekend will be heading off to Woolfest, which is taking place in Cumbria on Friday and Saturday of this week, and I won't be going to Woolfest. I've never been to Woolfest, in fact, which is a bit of a strange one, in complete fairness. But I would love to hear what is going on and how it was and all the interesting gossip from the event. So I'm looking for a roving reporter and looking for someone to come onto the show and tell us all about what went on in the next episode. So if you think that it could be you, get in touch and give me a shout and we'll have a chat about getting you on the show to give you a rundown of Woolfest, seeing as I won't be there and I feel it is my duty to help spread the word about these yarny events to people. If you want to be in on that and come on the show and have a bit of a giggle with me and possibly partake in a little retro perfume review as well, then get in touch at shinybeesinfo@gmail.com. In other news, there has been a winner drawn finally. I'm sorry, I completely forgot about this. And I will hold my hands up because that's the kind of person I am. There was a competition in episode 48, I think, to win a Shaun the Sheep kit from Rowan along with a project bag made by my very own fair hands. And I finally realised I had not indeed given this away when I went into my yarn vault and saw them still sat on the prize shelf. So I did a little draw and the winner was number 26, who is Stitchy Ali. And she said her favourite sheep breed, tough choice. Love knitting and spinning with BFL and Shetland, but love the way Herdwick sheep look. They're so cute. So Ali, you have won that prize, including a custom handmade project bag by my very own hands. And get in touch, PM me your address and I will get that off to you. Don't forget, please, there is a giveaway ongoing for the Tin Can Knits and Rainbow Heirloom joint giveaway, which finishes on this Sunday, the 28th of June, and that is for 2 skeins of Rainbow Heirloom Merino Light in the colourway Snow Melt, which is a lovely minty green colour, and a copy of the Tin Can Knits Max and Bodie's wardrobe. A lot of you have already entered, but if you're on the fence, if you're umming and ahhing about it, or you've forgotten to do it until now, you only have till Sunday to enter. So please get over to the group on Ravelry and pop your entry in the thread there. In other news, there will be a short break coming up in the podcast. Call it a holiday if you will, over summer. It will probably be split into a couple of chunks just because both Clare and I have a lot of freelance work ongoing and books and all sorts of things that are going to be coming out that we're working on. And to keep all of that ticking over nicely and to keep all the content and everything fresh and interesting, I'll be having a little break. I will announce the dates of that once I've firmed them up with Clare, but there will definitely be at least one more episode before we have a short. It will only be a couple of weeks break in the show schedule, just to give us a bit of breathing space and let us reset for the next kind of 6 months, really. It's doing a weekly show does come with its own challenges in terms of managing all of the workflows and all of the extra things that you need to do in the background to produce the show on a weekly schedule. And I really enjoy doing it weekly because I like talking to you guys. It's quite good fun. But obviously in summer as well, a lot of people go away, they go on holiday, people are here, there and everywhere, children are off school causing mayhem. And it just seems like a good time to just have a little bit of a reset and plan all of our content for the second half of the year, both for the sock surgery and for other things that are going to be ongoing. So I will let you know how all of that goes and keep you informed as to when you can expect that break to happen. So I think without further ado, better go on to Enabler's Corner. So this week in Enabler's Corner, I'm going to enable you to another knit along because that's how we roll, and this knit along is being run by KnitBritish and BritYarn, and it is the Scollay along. Everyone needs a good cardigan knit along in summer, and this one is no exception. I won't be taking part in this one because I really have enough projects on the go, but I'm doing quite well with my knitting, really. But for all those of you who love a good knit along, this is a Scollay along. Scollay is a pattern designed by Karina Westerman, and it was originally designed for one of the knitting magazines. I think it might have been Knit Now, and the rights have come back to Carrie, and the cardigan was named after Louise Scollay of the Knit British podcast. And they've decided they're going to do a knit along, and Isla from BritYarn is going to get in on it too. So if you want to take part of it, the sign up thread opened on the 22nd of June, so you can go and sign up now. And they're going to be doing a virtual cast on party on the 17th of July, so you've got plenty of time to get all of your materials together and get yourself all sorted and swatched and everything else, because swatching doesn't count as casting on because that's preparation. And that is my excuse for any swatching that I need to do. I've stopped casting everything on, just started swatching everything now instead. But what BritYarn are also offering is 10% off any DK yarn until the 28th of June 2015, which is this Sunday, so be quick. And that is with the code SCOLLAYCAL DK15. I'll put that in the show notes. So there's plenty of lovely DK yarns there. There's some from Blacker that I quite fancy. There's a Welsh mule that could be quite nice. And you've got your Leoness, you've got Wendy Masham, you've got the Longwool, Wensleydale Longwool Sheep Shop is also coming on in at 10% off. So there's plenty of choice there. Dare I say it, even if you're not knitting the Scollay cardigan, but you fancy a bit of a DK splurge, you could sneak in there and take advantage of that. So that is the Scollay along, which is signing up now over in, I think, the BritYarn group. I'll put a link in the show notes to the blog post announcing it all and things, so you can go over there and find it if you don't listen to Knit British already, which I'd imagine you probably do if you listen to me, and you can get involved with that. Also in the enabling corner, we have some Make It Fit 2015 news. Now we've got some cool interviews lined up. We're just trying to work out the schedule with a few choice people who are going to be coming on and giving us their points of view on making clothes to fit. And we did a measure up last week at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I say that every time, don't I? Edinburgh Yarn Crawl, which was hilarious, and we had quite a few people come along to be measured, and it's really strange because everyone was completely different sizes, and nearly every person commented on the tops of their arms, and that's just something that I've never really felt the need to go look how big the top of my arm is or jiggle any of my arm parts. But every person said it was really strange. And most of their arms look completely fine to me, in fairness. And yeah, it was really weird how you think you have some ideas before you start and then you see how things are different in real life. It's been really interesting and got some really positive feedback from all of those people who came and took part. So thank you to you all. And if you would like to take part online and give in your vital statistics to be put through our statistical machine, you can do so. We have got a SurveyMonkey survey live at the moment, and I'll put a link for that in the show notes. And we've decided on a specific set of measurements, and there are far more measurements than we've decided on taking, but there comes a point where you can measure. It could go on forever, so we had to put a limit on it somewhere. But these should be fairly standard measurements in terms of things that you can easily change to achieve the fit that you're looking for, but maybe not incredibly precise fit. But they should all be achievable for everyone, which is what we really wanted to aim at. We don't take any specific personal details. We don't link you to your numbers. It's all anonymous, and it's just to give us an idea of what is actually out there. What size are people? Do they bear any resemblance whatsoever to clothes in the shops? For instance, one person said that she only ever wears skirts because she can't get trousers to fit, and that's a problem that I have as well, is that I'm fairly blessed, shall we say, in the arse department, to quote KD, and but I've got a little waist, which means that if I get jeans to fit round my derriere, there inevitably is several inches hanging off at the back of my waist. So maybe I should just take to wearing skirts all the time. If only I didn't live in northern Scotland and it wasn't freezing still, then maybe I could do that. But we're already finding some really interesting findings just from the ones that we've taken, and it would be really interesting to see how people's body shapes change compared to where they're from in the world, because obviously not everybody could get to Edinburgh, but from where you are in the world you can easily get on the internet and put your measurements in, and we might find that there is some kind of trend between different areas in the world. I will put the link for that in the show notes, as I say, and it should be fairly self-explanatory, but I'm sure at some point we will be following a blog post of exactly how to do that, and what measurements are where. Mostly when I get someone to actually take pictures, I need 3 people to do it. 1 to measure, 1 to be a model, and 1 to take pictures, and that's proving difficult at the moment, so we'll get onto that as soon as, but it is fairly well explained. So if you get stuck on any of it, give us a shout at makeitfit2015@gmail.com. We'll be only too delighted to help, and we're looking forward to bringing some more stuff to you and some great kind of interviews and guest specials as time goes on. The schedule may flux a little bit because lovely Louise is going to be moving house soon, so we will work around that, and as you've heard, I'm going to be quite busy in the next couple of months as well, potentially moving house, potentially doing a lot of stuff, fighting against the council and the government and all sorts of other choice things that I choose to do in all this spare time that I don't have, and I'm never one to back down from a fight. Yeah, so it may be slightly flexible schedule wise over the summer period, but I think a lot of people are, as I've already said, are away and they're doing stuff anyway, and then once we get into September and everything's settled down again, we'll be going at it hammer and tongs, if you will, to get everyone into knitwear that fits by winter. So that's Make It Fit 2015 and the Scollay along. Details in the show notes. Let's crack on to Wippin Piccadilly. So Wippin Piccadilly, I've been doing a bit of knitting since last time I spoke to you. Making a more concerted effort to achieve on the knitting front. I got some good tips from some of the more seasoned veterans in terms of how to actually get progress and how to fit little bits of knitting into your everyday life, so that overall the kind of compound effect of all these little bits of these odd rows here and there can kind of bring a project to fruition, if you will. It certainly seems that as the mill miners get older, it should be a little bit easier, and particularly once they start doing all these extracurricular activities where you have to be there, but you don't actually have to take part, you just need to be there. I'm quite looking forward to that. It could be some good solid knitting time. I did get a bit of knitting done on the train journey down to Edinburgh as well, because surprisingly, it's only like 104, well, probably a bit more, 200 miles, I guess, to Edinburgh from where I live in Scotland, and it takes 4.5 hours on a direct train, more like 5 on one where you have to change, which is most of the trains, in all honesty. And it's 230 from Wigan, in my house in Wigan, but it only takes 3 hours on the train because of the West Coast Main Line. It's crazy. It's not even in the same country, but yet it's quicker to get there. But the upshot of a lot of train time and a slow journey is plenty of knitting time. Now, obviously, you know, I did spend some of that being chatted up by a 5-year-old. It's a tough old life, eh? You know, being just such an object of desire to small children. What can I say? I wasn't even wearing primary colours, because then you could kind of understand it. But I also got quite a bit of knitting done as well, both on the train and over the course of the weekend. So, you might have seen it on Instagram. I have cast on another Lush, but this one is a small child Lush. It is for the Beast, because she does need a cardigan that fits her for school, and I've had this yarn in the stash for a while, and if I knit this cardigan, then that'll be 5 balls that are not in the stash anymore, which is always a good thing, I think. And I'm knitting it in Adriaphil Mirage, which is a 50% wool, 50% acrylic blend. It's £2 a ball, and it is Illuminous Pink. And as I say, I'm knitting the Lush cardigan by Tin Can Knits. I've gone for, I think, age 5 to 6, or maybe 6 to 7. She's quite big. She's very tall for a just turned 4-year-old. Certainly much bigger than the Sanimal is. He's a little kind of compact unit. Although, considering he's really small, he's massively sort of climby and monkeyish. He can climb on things that really, looking at the length of his legs, he shouldn't be able to, but he just can. He's got his like monkey ability, as well as being a ninja assassin. Because she's taller, she's a bit more clumsy. But it means, obviously, because she's quite tall, she goes through clothes a lot faster. So I thought I will go for something a little bit more affordable, and a tenner for a cardigan. It's 50% wool. It's not bad, really. And obviously, once it comes to, we're past Midsummer Day now, once it comes to October in Scotland, it'll be dark at 3:30 or whatever. So having a neon pink cardigan could prove quite useful in terms of road safety. So, like I said, I don't think she even likes pink anymore, but she's getting one anyway. And I've just finished the yoke on that. I did some on the train and some over the weekend at Indiebury Yarn Crawl. I did find a much better way to do the provisional cast on for this. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it when I did my own Lush. The first time I did the yoke, I got really aggravated because it didn't line up properly, the stitches. And the stitches, in fairness, on this still don't line up properly. And it is a triangle shape at the back, so you can see it. And because it's part acrylic, it's not as stretchy. You can't really blag it out like you could do with 100% wool yarn. But it'll do for hair. You know, it's not going to be a massive deal. But I use the provisional cast on over 2 needles. So you cast on to one and you hold another cable needle on with it as well. So you knit one side instead of crocheting and then picking it up and unzipping the crochet and picking up all the stitches. You just literally pick up the other needle and start knitting. It's already there for you, and it seems a lot neater, a lot better way to do it. So that's worked out quite well. And as I've knitted it once already, I'm fairly well there with the old pattern memorisation. So that's just been pseudo blocked, as blocked as you can block an acrylic thing. And I'm going to be picking up the bits and bats for the collar and the body soon on that one. Much quicker in a kid size. The yarn is not too bad, in fairness. The Illuminous Pink does please me no end. I'm a massive fan of neon yarns. Neon realness, as the Westie would say, and bargainous price. Not the finest quality merino in the world, or wool in the world, if indeed it is merino. Obviously it is part acrylic. Not used to knitting with budget yarn, if I'm completely honest, without sounding like a right stuck-up cow. It's been a long time since I've knitted with anything that's a bit more multi-purpose than stuff that's nice for me that I want to knit with because it's lovely. Having said that, I think it will wear extremely well, particularly given that it's going to get a bit of a pump in from her Madge, because she likes to play hard. So and once she sees it, she'll want it on all the time because that's what she's like. So it should turn out fairly well. I'll let you know how we get on with it and see what she thinks once it's knitted up. She said she doesn't like pink anymore. Pink is Leah and Lily's favourite. Her favourite's purple. Well, guess what? There's no purple in Mummy's stash, so you're having pink. But we'll see. If I put some purple buttons on it, I'll probably get away with it. And she's so sort of changeable. She'll have changed her mind again anyway, back to pink by next week. So it's all good. So that is Lush by Tin Can Knits. The pattern is available separately and as part of Handmade in the UK, the book, and it goes from baby size all the way up to big, so it's the kind of pattern that you get a lot of use out of, which is good. I also picked up my owls jumper. It's been maturing steadily for 2 years plus now, and I've decreased down to the waist. I'm starting from the increases from the waist now. Just randomly picked it up one night last week and decided I wanted to knit on it. And I have done. Not the most inspiring knitting experience in rowing British sheep breeze with wooden Knit Pro needles, because I'm used to working with the lovely hires and chow goos now, but I didn't have the right sizes, so I had to go to wood. And it's making my hands a little bit achy because I'm just not used to working with that sort of friction anymore. But it's fine for TV knitting, and actually I could probably do with the jumper right now. It's not that warm. I've got a fleece on sat in my spare room considering putting the heating on, so could go quite well. But it is obviously quite fast because it's chunky yarn once you sit down and do it. So Owls Along progress has happened there with the Owls by Kate Davies. I've also swatched, I told you I was into swatching, for some stuff. I swatched for Malone by Anne Kingston. Again, a pattern that I've had for a long time, yarn that I've had for even longer. The swatch is beautiful. I love how that swatch has come out, and I really enjoy knitting with the Nurturing Fibres Super Twist sock yarn. I think it's just a really good knitting experience. I enjoy it, but it's come out, it's bang on gauge, don't need to do any work really, just need to measure all the bits and check that I'm there or thereabouts, fill in all my little numbers on the pattern. But it starts off with like a 300 odd row I cord. Can't be arsed. Don't want to cast it on. 300 odd row I cord when you're casting on. No, Anne. No. It's meant to be something dead easy and quick reward, like, you know, a couple of inches of rib or something. I cord to cast on. What are you doing to me? So I just need to get on with it really. I need to woman up and just get on with that. Again, easy TV knitting, so I should just do it really. And once it's done, I'm sure I'll wear it loads. Just need to get that I-cord done. I also picked up again my Guardian Angel, which is by Sally Cameron, who is Pink Hair Girl on Ravelry. She's been on the show before, talking about writing a knitting book. And that has been on the needles for over 2 years. And I was picking up the edging for a long time, and I picked it up on the train. I've somehow managed to get the wrong stitch count on the first row, probably because I was a bit tired. And when you first start experimenting with knitting and you pick projects and yarns, and you maybe not the best advised pairing in the world because it is a 4-ply pattern. I'm knitting it in lace weight. I'm not sure it's exactly going to work out but I thought it would when I cast it on 2 years ago, but now I'm a little bit more experienced. I'm kind of doubting whether it is going to work out after all. But I'm so far down the line now, I don't really want to not finish it. I really should just get on with it and just grit my teeth and get through it. So we'll see. We'll see with that one. It's been put down. It's not been picked back up again since. I was sort of bullying myself into doing it by taking that on the train, not having anything else. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe if I just followed the instructions, anyone seeing a theme here? If I followed the instructions on the pattern, I wouldn't be getting myself into this kind of trouble. But anyway, what have I finished? I finished some stuff. I can't remember if I told you last time, so I'm just going to tell you again. I finished my hat for the Hap Along. I did Aestlight by Gudrun Johnston, and I knitted it in Nurturing Fibres Super Twist Sock, which is 100% high twist merino, and it was in the colourway Owl House, which was a special Colours from Africa colourway. It was a limited edition one that was inspired by outsider art in a place called the Owl House in South Africa. Beautiful to work with, lovely yarn, lovely crisp stitch definition. The bird's eye lace was a pain in the body to do. Everyone seemed to struggle on the bird's eye lace, even though it wasn't a particularly difficult thing. Everyone ended up ripping it back at some point, and I managed to get it done. Loving the colour changes throughout the project. The knitted on edging at the end was a little bit soul destroying, I'm not going to lie to you, and there was a tiny bit of fudgery around the point, even though I'd counted everything beforehand and followed the instructions. It wasn't 100% right, but I fixed it and cast it off. It has blocked out to be a really reasonable size, and I wore it to Indie BritYarn crawl and got lots of compliments on it. The one thing I would say is I ended up with 50 grams of 150 gram skein left over. So instead of using the 440 yards it said I was going to need, I used 380. So actually I could have done, I was only about 30 yards short for the big size, which was meant to be 550. So I would easily have had enough to do the larger size. Now, granted, the larger size may have blocked out to be the size of a blanket, so it could be a blessing in disguise. However, when you get a skein that is that length, that is a very specific dye style with very long colour repeats, it's difficult to see exactly what I'm going to use that for now. I've only got 50 grams of it left, so I was a little bit cross that there was such a big difference between what it should have used and what it did use, because I generally knit to gauge. So just something to be aware of is that the yarn called for is quite a lot more than what you will probably actually use. But the pattern was fun. The finished object is beautiful. I'm really pleased with the finished object. I'm just cross that I didn't use all the yarn, and it's been suggested I could knit another one, and I do have the coordinates to go with it, the orange and the pink, so I could knit another one, but I don't know whether my kind of pig-headed annoyance will get in the way of me doing that now, so we'll see, but I've used some of it at least, and got a beautiful finished object out of it. That yarn does have excellent stitch definition, and when you block it, it's really crisp, and it really kind of stands out. It holds the block really well because it's a super twist. You see all the lovely stitches in there. It's brilliant for cables and stuff, and the bird's eye lace does look amazing. I just wish I could have used it all really in one big glorious amazing project. So that was Aestlight by Gudrun Johnston. And I've also knocked out Quick Lapsang, another one, my most knit pattern ever. Lapsang is pattern for a hat. It's by our very own Clare Devine, who you will know from the show, and it takes one skein of chunky baby alpaca. I use Eden Cottage Whitfell Chunky, which is 100% baby alpaca, and you get a normal size hat in the medium and about half a pom-pom out of one skein. So you do need really an extra skein to do 2 pom-poms. If you do the pom-poms the size that I do the pom-poms. And I think I use 6.5mm, the Clover pom-pom makers at 6.5mm. But to make a proper sizable pom-pom, you do need really an extra skein to augment what you've got left. Now I was going to put a synthetic pom-pom on it. And I looked all over Edinburgh to find one, but I couldn't find one, so I had to make one. Because I did find a pom-pom, but it wasn't synthetic, and it was so lovely that I decided I needed to keep it myself. So that's what I did. And this was a present for one of Sammy's teachers who was leaving school. I've warned the other teachers that under no circumstances will anyone else ever get a baby alpaca hat, so stop leaving. And it went down really well. She seemed to really like it. So again, it's dead quick. It's so quick and dead easy. You know, it's a really simple pattern to memorise. It's proper kind of potato chip knitting, really. If you're a brand newbie, there's enough in it to keep you interested without it being too difficult. Always looks impressive when you hand it over as a gift, especially if it's in something beautiful like baby alpaca and it's nice and soft. You can have it done in a night, 2 nights max. You can get there's a pattern for a matching cowl to go with it, so it's brilliant for Christmas knitting. Can't really fault the pattern, and it's written beautifully because Claire's written it, so it's all really clear and really easy to follow, really nicely laid out. None of this crunching up of letters and numbers that you see in a lot of patterns. So highly recommended. That is Lapsang by Clare Devine. In terms of aspirational knitting, I have got a few things that I would quite like to do, but I'm tempering myself. I'm just doing the swatching. This has become my new thing. Someone recommended it as a kind of solution for start-iters, and instead of just starting things and then casting them aside once you're bored, which a lot of us do, if you just swatch for projects instead, it's like constructive. You know, you're going to need to know that information whether or not. You get a bit of a kick out of casting on, but you're not just going to skim it to one side when you get bored, because you'll have your swatch, you know exactly how it's going to behave. So I've been doing that instead. So that is Wippin Piccadilly for this week, and hopefully I'll have some more progress to report to you next time, maybe even a finished object. Lush, you're going down. Now, of course, all of this making stuff and getting things done and finishing objects and everything else is all well and good. But what do you do with them when you're finished? How do you store them? Does it just become a stash storage problem that transfers into a finished object storage problem? Do you just knit and give it all away? I know some people that give a lot of knitting away. And I saw a question on Ravelry basically alluding to just this. The person had a small apartment and they have all their finished objects and they have their piles of sweaters and shawls and whatever else they're knitting on the desk, and eventually one pile became 2 piles, became 3, became I don't have enough space anymore. And it got me to thinking about how to store finished objects, because despite my alarmingly slow rate of progress when it comes to knitting, I actually do have quite a few knits lying around and quite a few things that have been made by other people lying around, like my lovely hand-woven scarves by Dorothy Stewart, for instance, that currently live in, they're 100% silk, so they live in the box in the drawer where the knit accessories live. Now, as I've already said, the stash storage problem is sort of taken care of in the walk-in wardrobe in the spare room, aka the yarn vault. And within that, I have several plastic tubs from IKEA and Argos. You know, any plastic tub will do, and the yarns are communing in their respective tubs with their mates, having a bit of a laugh. It's all shelved out, so they're all neatly stacked on there. That's no problem at all. But for the finished knits, it can be a little bit of an issue. So what ways are there to store your finished knits? Now, you could get yourself a sort of ottoman chest type affair and store your knits in that at the end of your bed. Get rid of the blankets, put the knits in there. Likewise, quite often now people use trunks as coffee tables. And again, a perfect opportunity to put some knits in there. Other people have suggested using a similar idea on a smaller scale for side tables in your living room, etc., or even bedside tables, which will work. You could get rid of some of your store-bought clothes and put your knits in their place instead. Have a good cull. Make sure that everything in your wardrobe is exactly what you want. I'm not in any way encouraging you to con-marry the hell out of your closet or your walk-in wardrobe, as we call it in the UK. But it's an option. If you get rid of some of the stuff you don't use much, you'll have much more space for all of your lovely hand-knitted goods. Some people go to the extent of having special cedar furniture and storage solutions built because they have so many lovely sweaters and they have a moth problem that they want to protect them, and one way of doing that is to store them in a cedar chest or storage solution. When you're storing your knits, putting scented soaps or lavender sachets, or you could put mothballs in, but it's a bit old-fashioned, into the boxes with your knits can help to protect them from moths. If you have the kind of moths that eat wool and cashmere and not the other kind of moths which don't. And obviously that has the benefit of making your knits smell nice when you take them out again. Some people advocate putting them in vacuum bags, which you can do, but storing natural fibres in an airless environment can alter the effect, alter the appearance and the colour and the feel of the yarn, because you're obviously meddling with the moisture levels in there because air isn't circulating, and it is a natural fibre, so it does need air to circulate around it. But what was another interesting take on the idea of how to store your finished objects was how to not create so many finished objects for yourself in the first place. So what turned from basically how do I store all this awesome stuff I've made went from that to, well, you're always going to have loads of stuff because you're doing a craft which produces loads of stuff. You start with stuff, you make something, you've still got stuff at the end of it if you're doing it for yourself, or if you're doing things that are too quick and easy. So maybe what you ought to do is give some consideration to slowing down your craft, so therefore you're not producing as much, and therefore the storage problem is less apparent, because you're taking raw materials and you're making them into something and they're going into something else. So if they're going away, or it's taking you longer to make them, which I guess, it is a fair point. I don't believe that we're crafters. I think we're all collectors and we just collect things. So whether you're collecting yarn or you're collecting finished object, you're still a collector. But I have one reply that I would like to share with you about the whole kind of storage of craft versus the whole essence of how you do the craft and what craft you're taking part in. And this is from J. Lee GB on Ravelry, and it said, I know your original question is in regard to storage, but due to the nature of this craft, storage itself may be only part of a larger whole. Having a finite amount of storage in a craft that creates tangible objects, you may have to alter the process or intention of the finished object. Number 1. Have you considered more challenging projects like shawls, patterns with beads or lacework? As these are more intricate, they will keep your hands plenty busy, but may extend the time it takes you to finish a project, thereby creating less finished objects but more intricate ones. Good plan, but if you've got a stash in your house, it's the same thing, isn't it, really? You're still storing. What about a blanket throw or two? Again, these will take a bit of time to complete, keeping your hands busy with the project, but fewer finished objects. A beautiful throw with a cable pattern, maybe. Number 3, maybe try colourwork. Ravelry has tons of patterns for colourwork mittens that are amazing. Same concept as the previous 2 suggestions, keeping your hands busy, but with the intricacy of colourwork, the time to finish a project is extended, thereby creating fewer finished objects. Number 4, consider charity knitting, chemo caps, red scarf project, prayer shawls or shoulder shawls for nursing home patients. Number 5, special projects for family or friends' birthdays or holidays. Number 6, a friend of mine began spinning her own yarn because she was experiencing storage issues. Again, since she was spinning and plying the yarn, it extended the time it took to create a finished object, but the process kept her hands busy. Don't know about you, I can see some fundamental flaws in number 6. But it's an interesting concept in terms of but it depends how you go about your craft. If you buy things because you like them and you know you'll use them at some point, none of those suggestions are going to help you because you're always going to buy that yarn. You're going to have to store it, so whether it's knitted up or in a skein, you're still storing it because you still want it and it's still in your house. If you're the kind of super restrained person that does that thing where they have like 1 or 2 skeins sitting but they go and buy yarn specifically for a project, I could see some of those suggestions being quite useful because of the way you operate when you're doing your crafts. But what would be lovely and what I would be interested to hear is, how do you store your finished objects? There's a lot of talk about flashy stash and flashy stash storage, but not as much about how to store your finished objects. So get in touch please, shinybeesinfo@gmail.com. Send me some pictures. Give me your opinions. If you've got any thoughts on the nature and physics of craft as a whole, or craft where you produce tangible objects like we do as knitters and crocheters, spinners, weavers, dyers, let me know. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this week. I do have some outtakes from my little Britannic Majesty helper and got some of her thoughts on neon pink yarn that will play after the outro music, for those of you that are interested to hear what she's got to say about that. For anyone that's not, it's after the music, so just don't listen past then. But all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for listening. I always appreciate that, and I hope you all have a great week. Happy crafting, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. You've been listening to the Shinybees podcast, a podcast for those who like their knitting, comedy and yarn in equally large measures. If you'd like to get in contact with me, you can do so via the blog, or I'm Shinybees on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest and Facebook. You can email me at shinybeesinfo@gmail.com. Music for this episode is provided by Music Alley, and it is Adam and the Walter Boys and I Need a Drink. So Mummy's been knitting something for you.
What is it?
It's called Lush by Tin Can Knits. It's a cardigan. What do you think of the colour of this?
It's very, very pink, but it's not my favourite.
It's not your favourite. What's your favourite colour?
Purple.
Purple. But if Mummy finished this one for you in pink, will you wear it?
Finish it in blue. Put it in blue and purple too.
Well, I've started it in pink now. What bits do you want in blue and what bits do you want in purple?
And pink in the middle with it.
Pink in the middle with it. So a cardigan all this colour of pink. Will you wear it?
Yeah, but I just want it stripy, made it with blue, pink and purple.
Oh, blue, pink and purple now. Okay. Don't want much, do you? What do you think of this one? This yarn, Izzy?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Can you describe it?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
It looks like soft wool, like lion's hair.
Like lion's hair?
Yeah, like just a lion's hair.
Oh, okay. Have you touched many lions?
Huh?
Have you touched many lions' hair?
When I was little, I touched lion's hair, but then it looks very, very soft.
Does it? Okay. Well, what colours can you see in this?
I can see yellow, and purple, and blue, and green, and red.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's called licorice all sorts. Mummy's going to make a jumper out of it. What do you think?
Yeah. What about a t-shirt with heart coloured in purple? And I want the heart on a pink jumper.
You want a heart on a pink jumper?
Because I love it. I want a purple heart on a pink jumper.
A purple heart on a pink jumper.
Yeah.
Right, well, shall I look on Ravelry, see what I can find? Yeah, okay. Thank you for coming on the show today, Izzy.
I don't know.
You're going to say bye?
Where?
To the microphone.
Bye, little microphone.